I've got to say that in 10 weeks, I've made a lot of progress with Travalich from the revenue side, and very, very beneficial.
Okay, cool. Wow, we'll get right into it. I'm just gonna pull it here real quick. Okay, Jesus, so how about you just start by telling us a little bit about like who Jesus is, what your story is, and I guess what are some of the problems that you're passionate about solving?
Good. A simple question to get started, right? My name is Jesus. In Mexico, particularly, if you're named Jesus, you go by Chuy. That's a nickname. In the US, it's like Chuck for Charles. Here's Chuy for Jesus. So most of the people call me Chuy. I was born here in Monterrey, Mexico. It's in the north. It's a 2-hour driving from Texas, from the US. And this is why probably we get along really well with English compared to the south of Mexico, for example. All my life I lived here. Just 2010, I lived 1 year abroad in Brazil doing a PhD research stay. And 2017, when I met Usman in California, with most of, I think, 6, maybe 7 months out of that year living in California. And through my years here in Monterrey, I was very used to feel that I lived in one of the best cities, not only in Mexico, but in Latin America. So I always felt lucky to be Regio, which is what you call people that is born here in Monterrey. And we were even featured back in 2008, as one of the top 5 smartest cities to live, according to Forbes. And 2 years after this, 2010, I was doing this research stay in Brazil. And everything that I was able to see about my city from the news and from the internet was how narcos were taking power, were taking control of our city. So there were like literally heads chopped off and on the streets at any single hour. Friends got killed. 2011, we got this Wikipedia page about Casino Royale, which is a terrorist attack to one of the casinos here. The mother of one of my friends, closest friends, died there. It was a terrorist attack for just charging some money to the casino owner. And so it felt really weird to be finishing a PhD in technology. It was a PhD. I hold a PhD degree in artificial intelligence and robotics. And as a Mexican, having an opportunity to study a PhD, that's a very small percentage. It's like 0.5% of the population. So I felt really lucky. I was filling a lot of awards. Brazil was a great time in terms of professional development. We had very well-renowned papers, research papers, different awards here and there. I was only 26 years old when I was receiving my PhD, and I had all this sense of privilege and awards and recognition, but at the same time feeling what is happening on my city, that if you look at the statistics from 2008, that we were top 5 smartest city to live, we disappear from that ranking. Monterrey had a sense of exponential growth, economical prosperity, educational prosperity. It was easy to get into, not easy, but it was easier than anywhere in Mexico to get a good education and land a good job in the US, for example, or launch or work for a big corporation here in Monterrey. And then suddenly everything collapsed. Literally, the sense of exponential growth brought us our worst time in terms of social development, of security, of inequality, and everything was feeling really bad. And this is when I decided by the end of 2011, I was 1 year before finishing my PhD, to jump into the humanities world, let's call it like that, bridging what I was doing with AI for my dissertation, which was a smart society of robots, to empower people. We developed some algorithms to, let's say, structure the conversations on Twitter and giving information, timely given alerts for everything around citizens. And that took us in 2012, by the end of 2013, to a headline in the New York Times that said how Mexico got back in the game. And that moved my heart as you cannot imagine. And I said like, okay, I don't want to be a technologist. I want to use technology to do these things, not to appear in the New York Times, but to feel that even the New York Times notices what we are doing for good. That felt really good. And since then, probably it's 7, maybe 8 years from now, I decided to explore let's call it the future of cities. Where are cities traversing, and how urbanization it's being embraced by the different cities? Because as we know, we are living an exponential moment in terms of technology, but also there is an exponential trend in terms of urbanization. They say that we are moving from the Homo sapiens to the Homo urbanis. So this makes me feel that most of the cities in the world are following the exact same path that Monterrey, Mexico. They are feeling a sense of prosperity, of economical development, of educational development, but not quite environmental, not quite social. So we need the tools, we need to bring them perspective, we need to help them catch up with the moment in technological terms and empowerment of, that technology and innovation brings, to ensure that we are let's say, keeping our cities growing in the path of social, environmental, and also economical growth, but not only economical as it has been with most of the cities. So if I could say that something keeps me up at night, it's the feeling that we are getting urbanized super fast with decision makers that are making the same decision process that 200 years ago. And we cannot keep that on doing that. So if somehow we can put technology frameworks, methodologies, and tools in general in the hands of these decision makers to better understand citizens, better understand their environment, and better understand the not only the city-wide perspective, but the nation-wide perspective and the worldwide perspectives, perhaps we can help them collaborate and urbanize as in a sense of shared prosperity.
Wow, that's a lot to unpack, but it certainly seems like a worthwhile problem to be passionate about solving. So on that note, would you say that OS City is your technical contribution to helping cities make better decisions?
Short answer is yes. Short answer is yes. I wish it goes beyond a technical support or a technical approach, and it goes much more on a mindset and an ecosystem of solutions. If you can think of us, if you can think of our smart devices, if it probably is an Android or an iPhone, and we have access just by buying this device to constant software development. We get more and more apps into our app stores and play stores. This is why we as individuals got, let's say, modernized super fast. We improved and we innovated our ways to communicate, to share, to pay, to everything, because we got that access to technology. And even though if you use, for example, I don't know, maybe most of you use WhatsApp, we never pay for the WhatsApp software development. So because costs are distributed and money being made by these apps, it's on a different stream. So OS City is for me an opportunity to replicate that opportunity with governments. Why don't governments have a Gov store? Why can they just install, like, for example, if you live in Melbourne, and Melbourne, Australia has the same, let's say, statistics or trends in terms of data than Miami, then what can you do if you are 5 years before Miami? Can you import some technology? Can you import some decisions? Can you see different technology? What if you can find it like a 5-star technology development and you don't even pay for the development? You just pay a small fee, or maybe it's free, as WhatsApp is for us. So if we can do that, if OS City can build that ecosystem of solutions, mindset, and people developing apps, or we call it models, for governments to get modernized at a super cheap and distributed cost, but also in a trustable approach, that will be the best contribution in terms of OS City. So perhaps it goes beyond just giving software tools to government. It goes into an ecosystem of solutions.
Wow. Okay. So now kind of switching gears a bit and talking about, I guess, your journey. So you've already told us a bit about your journey and that, you know, you're kind of pursuing academia and all that. And now I guess, you know, everyone here in the room, these guys are all entrepreneurs. And so I wanted to, I guess, pick your brain a bit about your experience as an entrepreneur. So perhaps, you know, if you could go back in time, right, to when you started this journey, you know, what's something that, you know, you would tell yourself, something that you know now, perhaps, that you wish you had known then?
Don't do it.
All right, well, that's not what we were hoping to hear. Try again.
I agree with that.
You know, I'm going to share a short story. I think most of what I do today, it's I mean, you know this. If you're probably a millennial, maybe in the shaded areas between a millennial and a Gen X, somewhere in between there because of music taste. But if you live there, you always wanted to be a firefighter or an astronaut, right? So my best approach to become an astronaut was to meet people from all over the world and feel that I have the world perspective. So I talked to Usman, I talked to you, and this feels like you're an astronaut, like you're outer space taking a look at everything that is happening. And 3 communities have brought to me great perspectives in general and everything I do, from the personal levels to the professional levels and entrepreneurial, of course. One is, of course, Singularity University, where I met Usman. The other, it's the World Economic Forum. I'm a Global Shaper alumni, probably becoming a YGL next year. And the third one is the Organization of the American States, which is kind of the UN, but for the Americas continent. And the World Economic Forum once took me to a session that they call the Summer Davos. Happens every single year around September, June and September, between those 3 months, and in China. So it was in 2015 in Dalian, China, talking about what we were intending to do with OSCity. We call at that time village gossip, how we were empowering people to make village gossip and create it as or transform it as a digital asset. And there was a session that was called Meet the Leader. And the leader in that session was Jack Ma, Alibaba's founder. As you probably know, Alibaba and Jack Ma, right? So Jack shared very beautiful stories about his life. And in the end, after his session, it was my session. Just after that session finished, I needed to run. I wanted to stay at everything in the Q&A and the pictures and everything, but I needed to run to another room to get into my presentation. So when it finished, we took these pictures, we took these different selfies, we had the Q&A, and I ran super fast. And then literally a group of people, like super strong military-like women, absorbed me. And in the middle of those women, there was a super small, short guy, Jack Ma. And I said, "Oh, Jack, that was a super beautiful session. Thank you. I needed to run, but that was beautiful. Thank you. This is a great opportunity to share with you." And he said to me, "What's your name?" And I said, "Chui." And he says, like, "Are you an entrepreneur?" And I said, "Yes." And he says, "Don't do it." He said that to me. And then that was 2015. And in 2018, I was in Davos in Switzerland, and we had another session with Jack Ma. And he asked, have some of you been in a previous session with me? And I was the only one raising the hand. He says, like, when? And I said, Dalian, China. And he said, "Did I tell you not to be an entrepreneur?" "Yes." "And are you still an entrepreneur?" "Yes." And he says, "Do you know, Professor Schwab, this is the thing." The best way to see if someone has what it takes to be an entrepreneur, tell him to don't do it. If he stays there, then you know he's going to be an entrepreneur. This is why I decided to stay with it. Don't do it. If you still feel that you want to keep on doing it, then you're prepared. So if I can travel back in time and tell to myself, don't do it, and I see myself here again, I said, like, probably I'm doing it because I'm capable of doing it. I have what it takes, right? So I think it's a motivational approach. It's very different of what you expect at the beginning when you become an entrepreneur. You want to be the boss of yourself and have free time and do la la la. And what happens is that you now work day and night. You're free to work 24/7. You're not free from work. You're free to work every single minute. That's what makes it the main difference. But I think this is what we love, and this is why the most important thing of being an entrepreneur is, why are you doing this? Because you're going to crash against hundreds, perhaps thousands of walls and obstacles. and the only thing that will keep you moving, it's to have it on the heart, not on the head.
Yeah, right. No, you drew quite a few laughs here. But on that note of crashing, right? So what can you perhaps tell us about a time where you feel like you failed, basically? You set out to do something, whether it was a business goal or even just a personal thing, or basically an occasion where you failed. And how did you bounce back from that?
Well, when you have the target customer, like if you go to an accelerator or an incubator, they ask like who your customer is, and if you said government, then you already failed. If selling to government is awful. It's a terrible thing. No one trusts you. When you want to raise capital, you reach to a point of being super honest with investors, and they say like, can you show me your traction? Can you show me the certainty? Can you show me the probability of closing these deals? And you say like, no, I cannot. I can just look back and say like, okay, we have been having a steady 2-year-over-year growth, but I cannot assure that this is going to happen on 2020. Maybe we can go 10x, maybe we can just stay, maybe we can just lose everything. So there's a lot of uncertainty on how you are walking with governments. But beyond thinking of this as a failure, what we have seen is it's an opportunity to always pivot on the business model. Like this is a constant mindset of pivoting the business model. Solution, we know it's there. We transitioned from being a non-profit to becoming a for-profit. We used to give all the tools that give us money today, we gave them for free to governments. So we reached to a happy problem where if you charge governments, they use the tools. If you give them for free, they don't use it. So we transitioned because of a constant loop of failing and looking to different approaches. So this year, for example, December 2018, we said like, are we fundraising 2019? And we said, no, we have good forecasts, revenue still coming, contracts are signed, we can keep it moving. Whole Latin American customers that we had went to administration change. That 2018 was an electoral year. We lost everything. There was no single renewed contract. There were even contracts signed for 2019, but because it's a new administration, you don't want to fall into legal stuff with them. So they don't want to keep on moving. If they don't want to pay, then you step out of it. So by March, we decided, okay, no, we need to fundraise because we are going to start struggling by the end of this year. And then we started looking for VCs, and it was like, nope, VCs are not the way. They are asking for steady numbers in terms of growth, traction, and everything, and this is not happening. We have more money, but we have less customers. And that's a weird signal when you're making business. We have always been making more money, but always getting into less customers. So it's a weird effect. And this is something that we have also learned to pivot. Do we want more cities using our technologies, more customers using our technology, or just one city using more models of our same technology? So we have pivoted a lot on that, bouncing in and out. That's in general the main failures that we always keep on crashing with. But I wanted to leave to the end of this answer a very interesting phenomenon that we are living in. This is probably the biggest failure and the constant failure that we are exploring how to jump or how to bridge, because this is always a thing that it's bothering us in terms of growth. As I said, back in 2011, we started as a nonprofit. 2012 to 2014, it was a nonprofit that was already created. We created the technology department. This nonprofit was sponsored $1 million every single year by Cemex, one of the biggest companies here in Mexico. They had their headquarters here in Monterrey, Mexico. The CEO of Cemex at that time, Lorenzo Zambrano, he was also the chairman of the Tecnológico de Monterrey, where I did my PhD. So he knew me very well. We were super, let's say, not close friends, but we crashed into different events and awards, and he gave me a lot of my diplomas. So we were close in that sense. And he believed a lot in what we were doing. And he was giving $1 million every single year. And then back in 2015, May 2015, May 2014, he died. When he died, the nonprofit started going to a different path. And then I decided to jump out. And 2 years after, 2016, we created OS City. And we have been into a lot of attempts of homicide to OS City, not to personal. They want to kill the company once and again. So having super big, inspiring companies, role model companies that are against you, it's the worst thing that can happen to a startup. We have been having customers in Colombia, in Chile, in Argentina, in Bolivia, in Peru. We have, as I said, we have spoken in Davos. I went to Singularity. We have a lot of credentials and awards because of doing good. Cemex is one of the companies that does good. We should not be against each other, but that constantly happens because that's a corporate conflict of interest. That's what they call. That's the biggest failure where you can fall. In any sense of conflict of interest, try to avoid it at any single cost. I will add something on this. On 2018, we won Cemex Madrid startup competition, and they were investing in us. That we were reaching an agreement of 850 US dollars, 800K, 50K US dollars. And then when Cemex Mexico noticed, they stopped everything. So this happened 2018, and everything was back in 2012, 6 years after. We're just a startup. They are a construction company. We are a government technology company. What the fuck is happening in the middle, right? It's because from the very single roots, from the very beginning, we created a conflict of interest because we work with them, and now we don't work with them anymore. So I will say that that's the biggest failure, to believe in role models, to try to approach big corporates because you feel that they are going to support you. Because when you walk apart, even if you invite them to jump in, they will always feel a corporate violation. Corporate is not even a word for startups. Corporate is not even a word for entrepreneurs. Corporate, I will say that it's not even a word for modern companies. I don't think Google considers itself a corporate. It's a big startup, right? But this is old-fashioned mega companies that have grown, that have their own beliefs. And typically when you're an entrepreneur, these companies approach you to boost you, to create economic prosperity. And if you fall into that and then you don't find a way to keep that relationship going well, that will pursue you, at least we can demonstrate 6 years after. Sorry that I know this is being recorded, so for everyone that is looking at this video, sorry that I said the names, but this is a real stuff, and I work for transparency. Sorry.
No, that's cool. So I guess on that, I have a question. So so you mentioned you had contracts with multiple governments in multiple countries in Latin America, and I mean, I guess it's curious to me personally because I grew up in Nicaragua, and so I'm wondering, you know, particularly in the last year where there has been quite a bit of political instability and uprising, if you will, in multiple countries across Latin America. So Nicaragua, Costa Rica had the same issue, Chile earlier this year, and same with Bolivia. So, you know, does that mean that, you know, your business, I guess, is constantly under threat from political instability?
I don't know if this is me making a scene of optimism, but I do believe that it's actually the total opposite. This is telling us that there is a market exploding. If you Google right now, protests happening today, 10 out of 15 will be in Latin America. And they are living their worst moments. Chile, as you said, Nicaragua also early this year, everything it's crashing. And I'm gonna share another short story. We became part of the UNICEF innovation portfolio because of the things that we would do with blockchain for anti-corruption purposes. And they introduced to us with ETC Labs, with Ethereum Classic. They are quite much more into the technology approach of blockchain than UNICEF. And we signed a safe agreement with them. They boosted us with 3 months of acceleration in Silicon Valley. And the demo day was the 20th of October, so 6 weeks ago. And when I was pitching on the demo day, I said, when I was rehearsing the demo day, and the real pitch was on Friday, and on Monday that I was rehearsing, I said that during this year, the Amazon has been on fire and no one has been able to make agile decisions. There were like 40 people in the audience, not even one thought about rainforests. I said Amazon and everyone thought about e-commerces. So that tells you a lot. I mean, the context is Silicon Valley, okay, I understand that. But that tells you a lot about how unseen are the opportunities in Latin America in that sense. And all over the world. I mean, I was talking about the rainforest on fire. Probably most of the meat that the US gets comes from there, and they were not even thinking of the rainforest, right? So that hit a little bit on what's actually the world aware that we need. This is why also part of the purpose is to create this kind of ecosystem of awareness of this is happening. And this is why I said that all these protests and government instability is actually an opportunity. If you talk to, for example, right now, one of our best customers, it's San Nicolas in the metropolitan area of Monterrey. And we approached them because when the mayor got elected, he said, I want to be the most efficient and trustable mayor in Mexico. And if you go into OS City in our website, you can see efficiency and trust for your government. And I said, okay, we are speaking the same language. And I said, like, what's the problem? And he said, okay, we are suffering from this, and that. And so every single, for example, in Chile, every single decision that you make public, you need to make an argument. And more and more every single day, we have societies that are polarized. Now we say that we have two Mexicos, not only one. Everything the president or the new administration does, there's 50% that agrees, and there's another 50% that says that it's only shit. And that's happening to whole Latin America. Chile has been one of the best and role model countries here in terms of environmental decisions, economic growth, everything. Then suddenly the president announces a 0.04 cents of a dollar increment on public transportation, and everything exploded. Society started making fires on everything. All Chile started collapsing because of a 4 cents increment on public transportation. Do you think that the president would have avoided that decision if he had the perspective that this will happen? Of course, I think. Of course, he didn't know what he was doing. And this is what we do as OS City. We bring you these perspectives. We give you data. We help you make decisions according to what it's needed. So if the country is going to explode as Chile exploded, you can say like, hey, take a look. This is what is actually happening. I'm doing the best for you. And then you can explain. But when you have no arguments, when you say like, oh, it was kind of a gut feeling that we had, then you have what you had in Chile. So this is why I believe that all this political instability, it's actually an indicator that the GovTech industry is having its greatest moment in the next 3 to 5 years.
Well, it's a very interesting insight. Particularly like for myself personally, but anyway, I'll ask you one last question and then we'll open it up to our cohort that are here. So last question. So you made mention of this earlier of when you became an entrepreneur, it would give you, more time to work on stuff, and it freed you up 24/7 to do your work all the time, basically. So on that note, how do you, do you feel like you achieve or have achieved work-life balance? If so, how do you kind of do that? And if not, what are your stories? Tell us about it.
Next question. I think this is actually one of the hardest things, and again, I think it has a lot to do with the sense of purpose and the sense of why you're doing this, right? When there is a clear why and the world is burning as it is in a sense of political instability, then it is hard to reach this work balance. You always have, not necessarily work, you have a mission, a personal thing that you're following. So this is hard to move. I have been married for 10 years. I have just saw Amanda, she's 4 years old, and 3 weeks ago, I had my second daughter, Aranza. Having a balance with this personal life, with these two daughters and the mission that you have, it's really hard. When you want to stay with them and have, like, let's say family time and balance it with work, then you feel that you are ignoring that the future of their cities is going to get, let's say, harder in general. So shall I spend time with my daughters, or shall I keep on pushing a better city for them? And this gets hard to answer. It's a hard question. I've said in different conferences that if at some point either Amanda or Aranza said that they felt a lack of a father because he was absent, at least they can set it in a beautiful city. And at least they can have clean water, at least they can have good resources, at least they can have economical prosperity to keep on moving, and an environment and a society that I want them to live. So that's a commitment that you have against family balance, right? And sometimes you stay, you play, you are with them, and at the very next moment you saw a tweet that brings you back to your computer, right? And that constantly happens. My wife, she has this, it's not like her phrase, but it has like just crossed in my head super hard. He said, what I love about you is how passionate you are to do what you are doing with OS City, but that is actually what takes you apart from family. So the thing that makes me feel in love with you to build a family is the same thing that takes you away from home. And that's hard to balance. That's hard to keep it up. In the end, we only have one life. We only have one opportunity. If I was sure that I have two lives, one will be definitely full or all into family, and the other for OS City or whatever, right? Maybe there's one where I'm a soccer player, but because we only have one, you try to do your best, and what it's let's say a priority. And when it's an impact-driven journey in terms of entrepreneurship, it's very different. If I was doing this just for the money, I will prioritize family. But because this has an impact thing, because this has an I think that we are fixing a world in some sense, then what's the priority? Family or fixing the world for them, right? And this is why it's really hard. It's really, really hard. Still, we try to, I mean, for example, when I'm in Monterey, I always do home office. It's getting crazier with two little ones, but noise canceling things work. And also, you always find the time. I gave a TED talk. It's in Spanish, so probably you'll get it, but I don't know. I'm not sure if everyone. It's called Beings of Light, Seres de Luz. And it talks about the future that we are confronting as spiritual beings, but also as quantum computers reach. So the technological moment that we as beings of light, then we are committed to spread our light the more we can. And it's a hippie thing that I said in a TEDx, but I shared a little thing that kind of sums or summarizes my answer to this question. Where my daughter, when she was 2 years old, she said she was playing with an airplane, a toy airplane. She says, like, take a look at Larry, at where you live. And that hits you hard, right? But at the same time, this is, I mean, you are with her sharing that moment because you have the opportunity to share, because you have already been working at the same time. So quality time gets harder when you think about impact. Family and work and personal and professional balance gets harder when you are following an impact entrepreneurship. But hopefully by the end of the days, I won't regret. And I hope you get down there well. If not, this is going to be at least a great talk for fuck up night.
Do you guys have fuck up nights in Mexico?
Yes, we have.
Oh, great. Okay, well, I will open it up to the cohort now. So who has a question for Jesus? Deb? All right. Just let me switch you around here.
Yes, please.
There you go.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Deb. I'm trying to implement something that will help save people from drowning, but I'm, like you, getting a lot of pushback from the people that are currently doing it. So I'm just wondering do you have suggestions on how to get around them? You know, like working, for example, I'm trying to provide multilingual water safety information, because at the moment when you go to the beach in Australia, it's all in English or it's non-existent. And then we have people who drown, who don't understand where they should be swimming, where it's safe. And I'm trying to give them like a QR code that they can scan, takes them to a, you know, a website, and then they can find out more information. So I'm just wondering how to get around that. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
website, and they can then read the information in their own language. I mean, it's rudimentary, but it's better than nothing. So I'm getting pushback from the people like the organisations like Surf Life Saving Australia, who are not really interested. Or they want to do it in-house. They want to justify their existence.
Yeah. Just to be sure, you said drowning to help people from drowning. Okay. Yeah. Because I heard a lot of echo and I wasn't sure if I was taking it properly. Well, Deb, you said your name, right?
Yeah.
Deb, thank you for asking and for the time here to listening to the lies and truths that I said. At the end of this conversation, you need to say which of things that I'd say were lies and which were truths. and I'm just kidding. When you find opponents, that's the best signal. Back in 2015, when we did the first implementation of local government, was when I saw people of Cemex knocking at my door, and they'd say like, "Hey, dude. You need to stop this. We are still working at the nonprofit. Now we are competitors, but you were here. We are going to sue you. We have power. You're going to be in all the papers here saying that you stole from us." And I said, "I didn't steal from you." And they say like, "Yeah, but we have power. We can say that." And I said, "Oh, fuck, yeah, you can, right?" And at the end of that meeting, which went really, really, really bad, I was really expecting that they understand how we were in power, and also them. I said to them, "Thank you," because I was hesitating if I should do what I'm planning to do. I had a job offer on Facebook at that time, and luckily for everyone, I believe, like to think like that. That meeting with these people made me understand that there was something there, that there was an opportunity there. When you find opponents, when you find people pushing back, then you understand that you have something. If there's no one accepting or pushing back, then probably it doesn't matter. But if you have someone pushing back, then it's because it matters. The approach, the how to, that's hard. I need to do some research on the problem, and of course tell Usman to give you my WhatsApp and my email, and we can keep on take a deeper dive on the conversations. I'm happy to do that. This is always for me mind stretching, so it helps a lot. So if you can think of me as a free consultant, think of me like that. I will love to share and do approach. This is also an advantage of selling to governments. Everything is so slow that you can take time to help. So if I can help you on the how to approach or how to find a way to handle this pushback, I will love to. But in general, just speaking, if there is a pushback, then you have an answer that there is an opportunity that this is worth it.
Thank you. That's very give me hope. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That's on the name. This is the Jesus on me. Sorry for that.
All right. So next question comes from Jacques. Sorry.
Hey, buddy.
Hi. How are you?
Very good.
Good. So yeah, my question is more on so our city current company. How I'm not sure if you talk about how many people are working with you on this project, mm-hmm. and kind of how did you get them on board? How did you find the people? How I guess you pretty much spend a lot of time talking about your vision, the impact, and I'm kind of curious about understanding what steps did you follow to get those people to join you? And so yeah.
Can you remind me your name, please?
Jacques.
Jack. So thank you for your question, Jack. This is one of the best questions when it comes to launching a project, to having an initiative, or being an entrepreneur. How do you decide who to jump in, who to onboard, and at the same time, who am I to invite people, right? So am I the right person to be doing this or not? And it always gets hard. One of the best approaches I found to building a team was first to understand what was the invitation about, what are we doing, how big is the opportunity, what are different areas, what am I thinking right now. It may change, but what am I thinking right now that it looks like, how big is the problem, and what's needed, in general, to have a perspective on what you're working on. So think about the party and saying like which kind of beers and drinks you're going to share, what's the food, what's everything in for everyone else. And then try to find that kind of people that are interested on that party, or build the invitation to that. And finding the people always gets time. For me, it's fun because I went to these 3 different communities: the Organization of the American States, the Singularity University, and the World Economic Forum, to find these kind of filtered people, let's say, to say like, okay, if you want to get to meet someone with the super impactful trajectory as Usman, living in Mexico, first you need to travel to Australia. Probably he's not going to be there. And then it's really hard. But if you just jump into an application where they filter that for you and they make an invitation look fancier, then you can meet Usman, right? So that was one of the strategies. As fun as it sounds, none of the founders came from those networks, but they were bridges from those different communities. We are now 4 founders. We started 2 of us. We did together mechatronics engineering, and then when I was doing the PhD, he was doing the master's. He has always walked with me into different projects. He was also with me with the nonprofit. We have been pushing together from quite a time. At the very early stages of the company, you start thinking of skills. What skills do I need? Do I need a blockchain developer, an AI developer, a data scientist? And you think about skills, and you don't need that. You need people that have the stomach to not get paid and still keep on pushing. You need that. And that's the first co-founder. That's the guy that understands that 9 out of 12 months we don't have money, and then on 3 months we got all the money for the next year. So that was one thing. Then we believed that we needed to create an engineering team to stop coding everything by ourselves, because we were doing everything: coding, selling, pitches, everything. And when we decided to create a team, then things started to get harder, because you get a team in order to save time for them to do the coding or the technology development, and you to do the sales. But then you need to coach them. And because they are not founders, they don't have this passion of working 24/7. So when that started to happen, we started outsourcing the thing with another friend of mine. Actually, with the friend with whom I launched my very first company. We did web pages using WordPress back in 2007. He had a 5-year-old data science company. And I said to him, like, we're just going to use you as our technology arm. And he said, like, dude, I want to close the company. And I say, why? And he says, like, because I'm just sick of having projects one year and not having projects the next year. I want to do some product development. And I say, you know, I have what you're looking for. We have a product, we need development. So let's jump. Do you want to jump in? And he said, like, okay, I'll jump in, but I want to be a co-founder. And I said, like, yeah, we know we have this strategy. And then we split the company by 3. After 2 years of working only 2 of us, we decided to do, like, let's make it fair. We don't have anything. Let's make a new company, 1/3 for each founder, and we'll see what happens. And he decided to pay with a year of employees. So from day to night, from 2 people, we became 14, just by giving away 30% of the company to this co-founder, which is not an investor. He's working 24/7 as well, just like us. He's also a mechatronics engineer. So at our 3rd year, then you start thinking about skills. Okay, now you have the people with stomach. Now you know that you're not gonna be alone. But now you need the skills, the different aspects. And we were 3 engineers selling to government. We needed someone from the political background. And from the Organization of the American States, the very first day that I became a fellow of Open Government, there was a guy that came to me and said, like, do you like whiskey? And he had a bottle of whiskey, and we started sharing a lot of whiskeys. And then we crashed into the next event, and then we went to an award. And I said to the other 2 co-founders, I said, like, dudes, this is gonna be hard. And for the first one especially, there was this year when we split the company by 3. Now we're splitting it by 4. And they said, like, no, there's no way we're giving away 25%. Like, what are you doing? Are you crazy? And I said, like, there is no way we're gonna be onboarding this person. We're gonna do a merge, just as we did with the data science company. We're gonna do a merge with a smart cities and government and open governance consulting company, 30-year-old company from Argentina. The main founder of this company has a co-founder that is on his 30s. He's our age. He understands what we are doing. He knows about technology. He knows nothing about development, but he knows about our customer. So shall we invite him? And initially they said like, oh, we need to see la 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 la. We received an award in Costa Rica, and the first co-founder, he's also named Jesus. He went to that trip because I was in the incubator with Usman in Silicon Valley, and he and Lucas, the fourth co-founder, they were roomies. I knew that. I felt like Don Vito Corleone. I felt like a mafia guy doing the things because they were randomly assigned as roomies, and I was like, oh fuck, I have never spoken the name of this guy. So when he came back of Costa Rica, he said like, dude, I met a guy that you should meet. I met a guy that has this background that you're thinking of. I think that he must be close to the company. Let's make a balance in the guy that you're thinking to invite and this guy. And I said, who's this guy? And he said, he's Lucas. And I said, okay, I love it. I love it. This is the same guy that I have been talking about. And this is how Lucas jumped in as the fourth co-founder. So now, as fun as it sounds, we have been working for about 2 years and 1.5 years. The first project that we did with Lucas was November 2017, so 2 years ago. Early this year, lately that last year, we decided to start thinking about merging all the companies into one. This year we worked as if we were one company, everything under the umbrella of OS City. We were used to call ourselves One Smart City. So it was One Smart City, Data4, and Prince Consulting. And now the three of us, we are OS City. And this pitch day that I mentioned about Amazon, the rainforest in San Francisco, 6 weeks ago, that was the first time that the four co-founders were physically together. It was an insane time to share and to understand what we are building and what we are sharing. So when you have this retrospective, when you look back, it kind of makes sense. But when you are walking through that, it gets really hard. It gets really hard. This is why I always say, invite and onboard the people with whom you will enjoy some beers, some drinks. Invite that kind of people, and invite the people that have already understand what it means to not have a paycheck. That's very important, because people may be super passionate, they may have savings, but frustration comes when money is not flowing. And this can end the very best friendship. And so if you have people with the stomach, with the entrepreneurial skills, with the willing to bet that you have as an entrepreneur, then that's your founding team. And don't be afraid to give away. I mean, when we say like, yeah, I had 50% of One Smart City, and now I have 25%, and that's nothing, that's half. And come on, for me, it's still nothing. It's still nothing. I mean, I prefer to have this four co-founding team, and now we have we stayed with 4 developers full time, so we are 8 in the company. I prefer to have that than 100% of a company that doesn't mean anything, right? Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, okay. Well, thanks a lot for your time, Jesus. I think it's about 12 for us. Any last? No. All good. All right. Well,
sorry that I speak a lot. And if you want to ask more, I can answer faster. If you want to leave, I still have time. Concert is in 2 hours.
No, don't worry. I think everyone very much enjoyed hearing about your experience with OS City. And yeah, and thanks again so much for giving us your time today and telling us about your journey. And yeah, good luck and have fun at Molotov.
Thank you. I really enjoyed sharing this. Thank you for your time listening to the path and the journey. Hopefully, I can be of some help to you. Usman, thank you for inviting me to share the path and the journey that we have shared. Feel free to share all the personal things that you knew about me during SU. That also tells a lot about the work and life balance. I said 10 years of marriage, but you end up with the marriage miles, as they call, when you travel a lot. So feel free to share that in a deeper level if that's useful. I've always found that the personal approach of the entrepreneurial path is what actually helps other entrepreneurs to grow. Because making money and making business and making impact, it can come in very different flavors. But in the end, the very essence, we are all humans and we all gonna share the same kind of problems. So it doesn't matter if you work for water and I work for fire. We are still persons, and we're gonna find the same obstacles. And I'm super open to share how I have been dealing with those obstacles and keep the conversations going. So feel free to share that. Feel free to give them my WhatsApp and keep the conversation going.